You have looked into my eyes. You have seen what I am, but still you're by my side, telling me I can't. And there are times I've caused you pain, and times I made mistakes. Somehow you use them all to make the eye you made. Oh, every good thing I have done, everything that I've become, everything.
Beautiful thing.
Hi, welcome to All About Us Teen Talk TV. Welcome. We have a great program for you today. I want to remind you to order your All About Us Youth magazine. You can go to www.aauym. Also, if you have any questions during the show, you can tweet us at CJ at AAU TV Radio. That's CJ at AAU Radio. Today, we have something new. We're going to talk about the book of the month. It's a very motivational and inspirational book, and I encourage you to order this book today. It tells about author Renanka, Something to Make a Bird Sing. It talks about her trials and tribulations of her going through the process of a child being molested, being raped, drugs, alcohol, abuse, being in group homes, but she has overcome all of her trials and tribulations. And this is just such a wonderful book, but it is going to be the book of the month. And we will have books coming, more books coming that will be quite inspirational to you. Again, it's Something to Make a Bird Sing, author Renanka Ward. You can order it on Amazon.com. We want to thank you for joining us today. We have two very special young men with us today. We're going to keep it real and keep it moving. We're going to talk about some real issues: emotional intelligence, social engagement, parental engagement, community engagement. We have Mr. William Teddy Portwine. He is an author, a community organizer, an informative speaker. And you'll find out during the show why he's so very informative. He's going to give you some great information. We also have Mr. Herman Dunham, Beautiful Men and Women. He's a personal and professional development consultant. We're going to start with who wants to go first to tell us a little bit about themselves. Mr. Teddy Portwine, we'll let you start first, just to give us a little bit of background on you and what you do.
Herman and I both come from the same community in Cambria Heights, Queens. Still staples in the community. I'm very involved with the youth there. And Clyde Vernell, who just gracefully dropped out of the Sandler race, but he's doing some wonderful things in the community there. Andrew Jackson, graduate, played basketball, All City, 1990. But I was always curious about how certain things worked from the outside looking in. And just got involved in writing about these particular things that we'll get into through the course of the show.
Okay.
But self-published author, I always believed in just putting your money behind yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. I basically put my money where my pen was, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And here we are, lectured at Columbia University with a good friend of mine, Lorenzo Steele, who has the prison to pipeline thing that he's doing, as well as with Herman. And, that's basically it for me, Okay,
we'll come back to the prison to pipeline. I'd like to hear about that a little further. Mr. Herman Dunham, let's get some information on you.
Yeah, I think, and I'm going to just call him Teddy, from growing up, years knowing him, his brother, playing ball and so forth. But again, Cambria Heights, Queens, and I miss basketball. But I am the president and CEO of Beautiful Men and Women, Personal Professional Development Consulting, where we do leadership, coaching, executive coaching, and presentations, trainings, the whole bit. And we're also, just recently, we all developed, about 4 of us put together a program called Youth Program. Actually, it's for young men, the ages of 17 and 26, mentors and single mothers raising sons between the ages of 8 and 26 called Building Bricks. And BRICS is the acronym for brotherhood, relationships, integrity, character, knowledge, and synergy. And we just basically put that together. We have an intro that's, we think it's phenomenal. We talk about racism. We talk about propaganda. It's a right now piece. And it's really designed to understand what's going on right now with a little bit of history. We talk about trust. We talk about culture. We talk about a lot of different things. And then we get into the aspects of brotherhood, the aspects of relationships. And relationships is really more geared towards how do we treat, our women? How do we treat young women? What does a young man do with a young woman? And then we get into the integrity piece, which is more about justice, standing up for what's right, knowing what's right, and standing up for it. Character, which is a great piece. The entire process builds the character. And just knowledge, we acknowledge that academic education isn't the only form of education. And we need to pay attention to that. We believe that the most important education is to know thyself.
Exactly.
And then we can move forward into developing, discovering who you are, what your purpose is, or, giving you and your life meaning. And then a synergistic piece is just basically what we're doing here today. Ted and I, although we work in different aspects, we come together and we work on things together. And it's a, pleasure to be here working with you and some of your colleagues and my colleagues and so on and so forth. So that's just basically what we do. We do personal professional development. We develop programs. We do the motivational trainings and informative speaking engagements. And, I believe that we don't just work with young men. We work with, with everyone. We haven't designed a program for young ladies yet.
Okay.
But I'm sure that somehow Building Bricks would be building rocks.
To incorporate.
Yeah, we'll incorporate.
Basically, like, it's the foundation, your core foundation of everything that you're going to need to sort of navigate the waters.
Okay.
If you don't have a map, there's no way you could be in the middle of the sea
You're right there.
and navigate
You're
your way out of it. And the good thing about it is when he talks about bricks, you're looking at 30 years of friendship.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think me and this man even ever had a harsh word
Wow.
to say to one another. Today we do business together. And the core values that he's talking about is what sustains us through the hard times. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if money's involved. We have to fall back on what got us to this point,
Gotcha.
which is our foundation, which is what BRICS stand for. So we're not just professionals who have the alphabet of letters on our diplomas selling you a package. We actually live it.
Right.
That is the key. So we're going through experience. It's like a drug counselor who's never done drugs telling somebody who's trying to get sober, this is what you need to do.
Right.
And you've never been where they've been.
That's true.
It's not going to work, and it's not going to come from a genuine place. You're going to place money over integrity and over the purpose.
Gotcha.
And I've dealt with that, so I know it to be true.
Wow. You're building Bricks Men's Leadership Conference.
Yes.
That is coming up soon. So tell us when that's going to happen, where, how much, and how they can contact you.
Oh, wow. Okay, good. So Building Bricks is going to take place in Harlem. We're going to the New Song Community Church, which was gracious enough to allow us to utilize their space. So on Saturday, November 15th, I believe the address is 2230 Frederick Douglass Boulevard. That's on the corner of 123rd Street. So Saturday, November 15th, we'll be there from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. And young men, we only want on set or on site young men between the ages of 17 and 26. And the reason for that is we're really looking for those young men that are in the process, almost like caught up. And those wearing their pants down, those that are looking for employment, those that are sitting on the couch, those that are just playing video games, those that, don't even think that they have anything to contribute to their lives, the hopelessness, the whatever. Those are the gentlemen that we want between the ages of 17 and 26. And our other two targets are we're looking for responsible role models and mentors, people that have experience in that to be able to come out and we want to kind of embrace the young men from that perspective. But at the same time, we have to nurture the single mothers that are raising sons. So we want single mothers that are raising sons between the ages of, if their sons are between the ages of 8 and 26, we really want them to come out. We're not going to allow the youngsters in the conference, but we're going to give the single mothers information on how to restructure some things in the household, how to open up different lines of communication and so forth. And one of the greatest examples, and you know, we hear it all the time, that a woman can raise a son, and some have been successful. And you know, we commend all work with raising sons because we know exactly what it's like to be sons. But even if you look at from the emotional aspect, you know, when a young man is using the bathroom or when he's coming into his own, there are certain things that he's just not going to share with his mother.
Exactly.
And we want to be able to kind of prepare them in how to not really get information, but how to be able to make those projections and those assessments and be able to outline a structure for him to follow so that he can be responsible and in due time self-sufficient. So, but you can get in touch with us through the website www.beautifulmenandwomen, spelled all the way out, I realize it's long, .com. You can also reach me at 718-736-5382, and I will definitely give you more information. We're on Facebook, Beautiful Men and Women, Inc., and Ted and I will be, you know, continuously posting it on our pages. We have some other people that'll be doing that as well, and it's also an Eventbrite link. I don't have that memorized, but you know, there's information out there. So if you just go to beautifulmenandwomen.com, you'll definitely see some information on the Building Bricks Conference, and we thank you.
We're going to continue talking about it. We'll reiterate it as we go through.
Sure.
But I just think this is a time for such a leadership conference for young men. And you said something so very poignant, Mr. Portwine, as we started, the foundation, the connection. You know, my first question is going to be, where did we lose the disconnect with our youth and the young men? Where did we lose that disconnect? And why are we finding it so hard to connect with them now to help them reconnect? That's my question.
There's a multitude of things that play into what you just asked. One of it is economics. When you're at a very crucial age, around 12 to 13, and you're becoming very social, and say you come, like I came from a single parent home. My mom raised me. My father was incarcerated for 16 years of my life. I had an older brother. He was gone off to college, so that just left me. My younger sister was just born at the time. I was about 13. There wasn't a lot of money. My mother had lost her job at Boulevard. Fortunate enough for me, I played sports. So, you know, you get money, you get sneakers, you get things like that. But there were other kids that lived in my community that their parents just didn't have the money. So I saw a lot of good guys make life-altering decisions based upon their economical condition. So if you come outside your door and somebody's selling crack, weed, cocaine, whatever it is, and that's your means of getting money to get the things that you need, that is a critical choice. Why? You put yourself at risk, one. It's very short-lived, too. And you're destroying the community that you live in. So everybody suffers. I know guys that was on Wall Street that sniffed coke all week long, functional cocaine addicts. So it's a very social disease. And the thing that I always talk about, once your son or your young man reaches about the age of 13 and he starts to grow, he gets a little taller, his voice is getting deeper, he's going to test those boundaries. There's only so much a female can do, and this is nothing, I'm not taking anything away from mothers. I love my mother to death. That's my best friend to this day. But even for myself, once I got out there and I tasted it, that was it. You know, so economics plays into it. You know, then you have the other aspect of it, which sometimes is just the social. I know guys that had both parents in the house. They didn't want for anything. But because I ran with this person or that person, I watched a group of young men from South Jamaica. They're not young men anymore, that a lot of people look up to. I'm not going to say their names. Go from being gang members, selling weed, to 5%ers, selling coke, to drug kingpins that's on the pages of Feds magazine and on BET crime stories. And these are guys that I know. And some of them, for them, it was family business. Others, it was by affiliation. So what plays into that is, the other social aspect is, when a man is based on his economical condition, that's how the world views him. And he feels he doesn't have any power because he can't afford the Porsche. He doesn't have the Wall Street job. The only way to prove himself is to exert that power within those realms that he operates in. So now you're into the drugs, you're into abusing women, you're into abusing your community, but everybody loves you. As we say, you're the man. Young folks say today, you're that dude. But when you really look at it, it's just social dysfunction. It's destruction. It's genocide. How could you get mad at the Rothschilds and Oppenheimers when you're doing it right here in your community? You know, so a lot of it is economical, some of it is social. You know, there's a lot of things that play into it. And we're basically conditioned by media and propaganda to feel inadequate if we don't have certain things. If you're not driving this car, if you don't wear this Brook Brothers suit, if you don't wear these Meslin shoes, you know, if you don't have diamonds or furs, you know, if you don't have Revlon makeup, you're not beautiful. And we buy into it. But how do you not buy into it? It's around you 24 hours a day. It's in your social environment. You know, this is what you're taught in school. You know, and our history as far as, you know, African Americans concerned is very much not privy to us in America, because the education system was designed for us to be perpetuated slaves. You know, and it goes across the board, but more so for us, because once we got here, we were stripped of everything that we knew, what we know, and that was lost. So if you don't know how to self-identify, man or woman, what direction do you have? How are you going to navigate those waters? You don't have a foundation. You don't have a map. You don't have a clue.
That's true.
You don't know how great and beautiful you truly are. If you knew, then you would understand why certain things happen to you in life that you can't explain. Police brutality, etc., so forth. You know, so it's a multitude of things. But I'll just stop there. I'll give Herman a chance to talk.
You know, I remember a young man telling me a story once. And he was, you know, pretty much going through what had happened to him. It was around the Trayvon Martin time. And, you know, has the hoodie on with the skinny jeans and the boots. And he's, you know, America's racist, New York is racist, and the police are racist, and everyone is a racist and racist. And my question to him was, what part are you playing into that system? You know, Teddy talked about, you know, propaganda and you know, and the genocide. And, you know, sometimes we can, you know, knowing who you are, number one, gives you a great outlook on some of your, what we call passions and appetites, you know, what kind of drives you, what moves you. And sometimes we can become extremists in things that we should be trying to have balance with. So, you know, I asked the young man, what part did you play? And he, you know, what do you mean, what part did I play? I said, well, you know, when I look at you, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you fit the stereotype. It's almost like a criminal profile that you fit. And he's like, yeah, well, I can dress the way that I want to. And it was funny because at that point, I began to tell them, I've never been stopped and frisked. I don't wear hoodies in the winter. There are certain things that I just don't do in order to remove myself from being at risk of something happening, because here I am, 6'5", 260 pounds. I fit the profile.
And they already view you as a big
Right,
beast
as a-
anyway.
Right, I'm a threat. Right, and then to be halfway intelligent, can be looked upon as a weapon as well.
Could be problematic.
Right. So I told the young man, I said, if you kind of fix things up, you wouldn't have that issue. And he said, but this is who I am. And my thing, with the social piece was like, since when does the clothes make you?
Exactly.
If that's who you are and I take that away from you, then who are you?
And who are you?
So, we've gone deep in areas that we shouldn't have when it comes to, what influences young men in this distance away from our culture and our upbringing and those rules and principles that, our great-grandparents and grandparents and even some of our parents, had instilled.
We're going to hold that thought. When we come back, we're going to talk about who are you. We're going to let you continue after this commercial.
My name is Dr. Robert Brevard. I'm here for Multi-Medicine in Westbury, New York. We're located at 1065 Old Country Road, Suite 214. Been here for about 15 years. The practice has medical doctors, physical therapists, chiropractors, acupuncturists. We also do pain management, and we have orthopedists on staff. Here at Advanced Multi-Medicine Rehabilitation, we've got physical therapists on staff who treat an array of conditions, from neck pain to back pain, shoulder pain. We treat carpal tunnel. We treat a lot of car accident patients, slip and falls. We treat patients with knee injuries, with ankle injuries. We have state-of-the-art equipment. We've been here for over 15 years. Vast array of diagnostic testing, from x-rays to EMGs. What is an EMG? It's a diagnostic test that allows a doctor to determine where the pinched nerve is. Cora is a physical therapist at Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation. She's working on Stephanie, who was involved recently in an automobile accident. Stephanie has tight thoracic and cervical musculature, and Cora is doing some myofascial release work and some therapeutic stretching, doing it to help her with her pain. Vicky is also a patient here at Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation. Vicky is now working her leg muscles, specifically her quadricep muscles, trying to strengthen them after an injury she sustained. If you find yourself in need of any type of physical therapy, please don't hesitate to call Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation, located in Westbury, New York, in Suite 214. Phone number is 516-334-7000, or find us on our website at advancedmultimedicine.com.
Hi, I'm Tom Mealy from Madhouse TV.
And I am Tommy Marr, also from Madhouse TV.
You can see, hey, listen, guys, we're in New York. I don't know if you can see out the window behind us, but I guess this event that we have for Janine's,
ALS.
yeah, but it's for Janine's
Uncle Harvey.
on ALS, the Vermont Veterans Home 0.5 mile
Which everybody can
family
do.
walk to help find a cure for ALS, and it's coming out Saturday, October 18th. Registration at 12 o'clock. Kickoff at 1:30.
And where it's going to be is at the Vermont Veterans Home at 325 North Bennington, Vermont 05201. And it kicks off, like Tommy said, at 1:30. Registration at noon. And if you want to call Christina, call her at 802-447-2792. 802-447-2792. We here at Madhouse, we support anybody that needs help. And it's something we've always done, right, Tom? And we're here in New York, and we're trying to get it out to Vermont. Everybody in Vermont, do your thing. It's for a great cause. It's a half a mile. Everybody can do a half a mile. And like Tom and I just did the ALS, we got drenched outside here in the parking lot of the studio when it was cold with buckets of ice, but maybe you guys can do yours with some sneakers. It's a lot drier.
You know, ALS is a debilitating disease, and I think it's something that everybody's got to get involved in to help find this cure. And I've always said from day one that we can't do it without the help of the average person out there. And, you know, to walk less than a mile, a half a mile is a little ridiculous. And if you can put those sneakers on and walk that half a mile and help bring a cure by fundraising to this disease, then you know what, it really is worth it. I think that we have to step up to the plate. I know here at Madhouse TV, you know, we're actually honored to be able to do this commercial for you folks out there. So get down there Saturday, October 18th, you know, at 12 o'clock.
And there is going to be live music, family fun, refreshments, the Vermont Arts Exchange, and there's going to be an art bus there. Lots to do. Bring the kids, bring everybody. It's for a great cause. And Uncle Harvey, we're going to dedicate this to you, from Madhouse to you and your lovely niece, Janine. So God
All right,
bless
guys.
you, and get your sneakers on
Make
and
it
walk
happen.
for ALS.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Welcome back to All About Us Teen Talk. We have Mr. Portwine and Mr. Herman Dunham. We were talking about the foundation of understanding who you are. How do you identify? How do they identify their identity to know who they are? The connection. That's what we were discussing
Yeah.
when we left.
I'm going to hit a little quote here, but I know I'm
Okay.
going to get a little shiver from Teddy here. Benjamin Franklin, a young Benjamin Franklin, said the easiest thing for a person to do is to deceive himself. So in that process, you know, some people think talking to yourself is really, really bad. And talking to yourself is really, really good. Because sometimes you need to hear it in order to see if it makes sense. I say that to say the first rule, if, you know, anyone off the street came and said, hey, you know, how do I begin to get myself together? And the first order of business is that you definitely have to tell yourself the absolute truth
Exactly.
about who you are. And I give them an example of what do you have and what do you don't have. And it's not materialistic. You know, what are your skills? What type of information have you retained? You know, the education. And it doesn't matter. Let's just put those things on the table. You know, what is your natural gifts? You know, and then what is it that you really want to do? And how do we make those things, you know,
Connect.
But without being honest with yourself, you have absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Right. You will always deceive yourself in your mind to believe something that you think you are, which that you're not.
Do you think so much so that the fear of them really identifying with who they are, is that the fear that they have? This sounds crazy. That's the fear of identifying who you really are and having to identify with the realness. Does that make sense?
The fear is always the unknown,
Yes.
because when you go into uncharted waters, you get scared because you're uncomfortable with this feeling. It's a strange feeling. Now, if you're never taught from beginning
Exactly.
that this is what you do anyway, you're great,
Right.
That's true.
there's going to be some confusion there. And if you don't have the foundation like we just finished talking about and the resilience to really withstand these tests, you're going to quit because it's going to scare you so bad,
Exactly.
you're going to quit. And I'll share a story with you. I told a friend of mine, I'm going to have $1 million deal by the end of the week. You're crazy, man. You always talking this stuff, man. Get out of here, man. I said, watch what I do, man. I walked into this building where I knew that this particular entity was and acted like I made an appointment to have a meeting.
Amen.
And when they said, we don't have your name, I said, what? My time is very important. I'm a very busy man. You know, what's the problem? I need to see so-and-so. I learned the person's name. We got a meeting today. End of the story was, I bluffed my way into $1 million deal at 26 years old.
Amen.
26 years old.
It's the faith.
$1 million deal.
You stepped out on faith.
They didn't even know who I was. But because I made such a fuss and I played the part, they assumed that I was correct in what I was saying. And here we are. By the way, no hard feelings. But if you don't have the heart and the desire to be everything that you feel you are and to go out and get everything that you deserve, nothing's going to happen for you.
Exactly.
You know, I'm on the campus of FIT. I see a multitude of talented, beautiful young men and women from all across the globe. We get them from Italy. We get them from Germany, France. This is like a major thing now. The school is really coming up. All of them are talented, whatever they do. But the one thing they don't have, business knowledge.
Business. They have the street business, but not the business.
They don't even have that. A lot of these kids are very privileged, so they're very naive. It's not our college days where it was like you had like 6 work studies and you know you did what you had to do. Now these kids come in and they go to the ATM machine more than me, and I work for a living. So, but the idea is you have to really understand. Okay, you're taught to go to school to get education so that you get a good job. The way the school system educates you, it's a farm system preparing you to go into the workforce. But in your mind, you're an owner. So if you're an owner, why wait for the school to teach you about business? You take it upon yourself. And then you know what you do? When you have nothing to risk, while you're in college in a secured environment, and you have room to fail, go out there and bluff your way into a line of credit alone and start your business. If you fail, you can go back to the dorms. Nothing's at stake. Just a yes or no.
True. That is true.
But we don't think like this
That is true.
because we're scared. And you don't have to be scared. Just get out there and say, hey, man, look. Now, I'm not telling anybody to go out there and rob no banks, okay? But what I'm saying is you go out there and you test the waters.
Right.
You see what you're made of. We all godly people. You're tried by fire. Go jump into the fire.
Exactly.
Now let's see if you a diamond or if you would. Okay?
That is true. I always tell the young people that I work with, I have this thing. If you want to accept fear, then continue to stand on the outside of the door and look in and continue to do what you're doing and to see if it will still continue on your journey where you're going.
Right.
Because if you don't step in that door, you are never going to know if you could conquer that fear or not.
Right.
So no matter what you do, you have to step out on faith and believe in your vision. And a lot of them don't understand. They see the visions. They have visions.
Right.
They don't know how to tap into it. So how did you tap into your vision? How did you tap into your gift? You know, I want to ask that question.
Right.
How did you tap into your gift? I know how Mr. Portwine tapped into his. Just look.
Tapped and fell and tripped and slipped and went all over. And I think for me, it was a process of learning. And it wasn't about getting a degree. You know, I've heard that, you know, college teaches you strategy. But
That's myth.
that's myth. Yeah. College teaches you strategy, and but performance or execution is learned by doing. You know, so it was just a matter of consuming so much information. Because one thing I know that once you begin to learn again, you know, we do it when we're in school, but you know, you kind of mellow out. Sooner or later, you mellow out. But once you get back into learning and the brain, begins to pick that back up again, it continuously grows. It's a muscle like every other muscle of the body. When utilized, it will perform, and when unutilized, it will, lay
Lie
dormant.
dormant,
Right. So for me, it was like after learning so much information, it just built up my level of confidence. Because through my practices, and I tell young people all the time, people in general, whenever I'm doing a motivational presentation or even trainings, take notes. When you write things down, the brain automatically inscripts it, right? The writing automatically inscripts it on the brain and so forth. And you're not going to be able to remember everything. So take notes. Don't just take notes about what's being said. Take notes about the thoughts that come to mind. And sometimes, because fear is an emotion, and we know
Yes.
the brain travels, how it travels, and you have fight or flight. Why is it that we have to flight?
Exactly.
Where is the fight? So the fight comes in, I guess, growing. I believe that self-esteem is something that you can grow. And growing your self-esteem, growing your level of confidence, growing your ability to be able to break boundaries. And it comes with, discipline. It comes with determination. It comes with sacrifice. For me, it comes from standing in front of a mirror
Exactly.
and talking to myself and understanding hand gestures and how to move and how to speak and when to lower my voice and when to bring it up. And, so getting past the barrier was just a matter of doing it and then almost getting angry when fear kicked in. Simply because I already knew that I was prepared. I already knew that I was good. I already knew that I had the ability. It was just a matter of doing it. And then sometimes, even like now, do I get nervous before, television or speaking engagements? Sometimes I do. But once I begin to talk and I stay within my boundaries of what I know, fear doesn't stand a chance.
Gotcha. We're going to kind of change gears.
Okay.
Because I really want to get into some
Uh-oh.
things. And you and I were talking about social and emotional intelligence.
Wow.
And I really, really want to talk about that a little bit because our young people are having problems, especially with social and emotional contact with themselves as well as their peers. We had this conversation.
Right.
And I want to go into that a little bit, especially with young men. And we can go into it with young women if you want. But what are you finding that is a big hurdle for young men to really social engagement and emotional engagement in relationships with themselves, with young women,
Wow.
and their mothers, and their fathers? I mean, let's talk about that.
That's a lot.
Yeah, right.
It's a lot to talk about, but it's something that needs to be talked about.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
something that needs to be talked about.
My research with emotional intelligence began with the book Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. Reading, working with emotional intelligence. I studied a lot of Stephen Covey material, 7 Habits, Principle-Centered Leadership, Speed of Trust. Then I studied psychology, sociology. So, so much, and it all boiled down to the brain.
Exactly.
And, the brain travels at approximately 24 billion miles per second. And what part of the brain, the neocortex or the limbic system, and, what triggers that. And what I learned and how I deal with emotional intelligence, especially dealing with other people, I talk about the limbic system. And the limbic system is the part of the brain that, excuse me, I'm sorry, not the limbic system, the amygdala. The amygdala is like the security system for the brain. That's the fight or flight mechanism. That's the piece that when you're walking down a dark road or something, and your hearing is heightened, it's sharpened. Your eyesight, even though you can't really see, so it starts to compensate. You hear a noise, you react. So what I learned about the amygdala, or what I learned about just the brain itself, was that the emotional mind has the ability to supersede the rational mind's ability to function, whereas the rational mind cannot supersede the emotional. So we are all emotional beings.
Yes.
I said all that to say we were taught wrong. We were just simply taught wrong. You know, when I was young growing up, you know, the older guys on the block would, you know, they see you crying, they punch you in the chest. Yo, men don't cry. No, men cry.
Yes, they do.
You know, it's like, you know, this man up type of thing. You know, if you talk to my mentor, he'll talk about, you know, man up, man up, man up. And man up is no. No, don't man up. Deal with that. Understand that. Recognize your emotions and so forth. And then not only were we taught wrong, but our principles, there were principles attached to our emotions. I could step on your foot by accident, and that's what it'll be, just an accident. But if I step on Ted's foot by accident, his principles send him into overdrive. Why are you playing me so close? Why are you so close to me? Who are you? What are you doing all up in my area? So, yeah, okay. So it causes you to respond based on your principles. So the work that we do with emotional intelligence is just basically helping individuals understand what their principles are as far as emotions are concerned, where you were taught wrong, and then to kind of re-script those principles. And at the same time, take the sting out of things. You know, instead of saying I'm angry, I'm frustrated, or I'm irritated, takes the sting out of it. Because anger is, you know, on 10. We don't want to go to 10. Let me go to 3. Let me try 5. You know, I don't want to go to 10. So I'm just a little irritated. I'm just a little frustrated. Words have power. So I guess in order to really answer the question, young men, first of all, and I want to talk about the African-American community for a minute.
Okay.
There are a lot of African-American men that dropped the ball. There were a lot. I'm not going to say that it was a majority. I don't even know the percentage. I just know that the ball got dropped. I know that it wasn't my father's generation, but it was definitely my generation. And, you know, even though I'm only 22, the ball was dropped. So there was a point where we stopped learning. There was a point where the transition, it didn't filter down. And in the process of it not filtering down and through and on, the gap itself left individuals in a position to learn for themselves. And in the process of learning for themselves or being taught by women who are a little more emotional. It's been said that women love their sons but raise their daughters. Men require, we're, you know, naturally hardwired for respect. You know, we want to be loved. But for us, it's deeper. It's respect. You know, women should be loved. And with all of those dysfunctions going on, and, you know, you're raising a child or rearing a child during this time, what would you have? You have no teaching. All you have is incident and process. And if I don't know how to process my emotions, if I don't have anyone that I could talk to deal with my emotions, if I don't even go to recognize my emotions, I just allow my emotions to supersede my thinking, then I'm capable of anything. I don't even know my rules. So it's one of the reasons why we really get into the principles, the paradigms and the principles of your thinking, the emotional and the cognitive, simply because your rules dictate your behavior.
Exactly.
And if your rules don't change, or if your rules are bad, your behaviors are going to be bad. But if your rules are good, if your rules are responsible, then your behavior is going to be, you know, be reflective of that. And solutions and progress and relationships and so forth can be developed. But otherwise, you know, you're in a bad position. So you want to hit it with the social piece?
Yeah, what Herman said, I'm going to simplify it a little bit about,
Was that a deep?
you up here with the neocortex
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
third
okay,
vertebrae,
all right, yeah, okay,
and the
my bad,
spinal
my
tap
bad,
to
my bad.
beam me up, Captain Kirk.
I thought that was like layman terms. I'm sorry.
No, well, we call it left and right side brain thinking
Okay.
for the folks off the corner.
Hey, do what you do, babe.
Okay.
What is-
before you get started, we're going to go to a commercial break.
Okay.
We'll be right back with Mr. Portwine. We're going to talk about social engagement. We'll be right back after this commercial.
Hi, my name is Dr. Tom Dow. We have a multidisciplinary practice in Melville and Ronkonkoma, New York, and we treat patients with many, many different conditions, from newborns through geriatric patients with numerous different techniques. There's a technique and a type of treatment for every class of patient. We have them all here. Here's my son Thomas, also a doctor of chiropractic, working on one of our patients' cervical spine. This patient has had chronic neck pain for many, many, many years, has been to a multitude of different practitioners with little or no response. And with our specialized techniques, she has improved tremendously and continues to improve on a daily basis. We have two practices, one in Melville and one in Ronkonkoma, New York. We are a multidiscipline chiropractic office. What that means is we have chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists, psychologists, all working as a team and a network of outside professionals such as orthopedists and neurologists that we work hand in hand with to help determine what your injuries are and the best way to treat your injuries. I have the great pleasure of having my son in practice with me. We work hand in hand, father and son, to give our patients the best care possible, and a staff which is loving, caring, and you'll never have to wait at all in our office for service. Many times patients come into our office and they have what's called a soft tissue injury. Soft tissue injuries are like scars inside your body. If you've ever been cut on the outside of your body, you get a scar. The same thing happens inside of your body to your muscles and ligaments. So our job is to determine where those are, stretch the muscles, adjust the vertebra back into their correct position, and then refortify the normal structure with exercise. That's what we do best, and I hope someday you'll come see us at one of our two offices. Thank you.
Are you planning an event and want to include entertainment, but you're not sure where to turn? Act1Entertainment.net has provided over 1,500 events with quality, affordable live entertainment at private parties, corporate affairs, festivals, bike rallies, and more. Act One will fit into your budget. They're friendly, reliable, and do all the legwork for you. They take all major credit cards. Log on to Act1Entertainment.net for a free, no-obligation price quote, or call 631-758-3505 for a brochure. You'll be happy you did.
Welcome back to All About Us Teen Talk TV. We're here with Mr. William Portwine and Mr. Herman Dunham. We were talking to Mr. Portwine about social engagement. You were going to give us the social piece.
Yeah. Basically, what Herman was saying was, we call it left and right side brain thinking. Okay? Your reptile brain side of your brain, which is the animalistic side of the brain.
Keep it real. Keep it real.
Okay.
I love it.
That's the one that the emotion drives on. Say you're watching a movie and the car's going fast and you're watching the movie, your heart starts racing. Okay? That is the one that can't disseminate between the realities. It overrides your realistic side of the brain. So when you watch a movie or so forth, or images, like a lot of children today are constantly plugged in. Cell phones, computers, you name it, they got it. Headphones, Beat by Dre, you name it. So you're constantly having these messages poured into you. And the other part is the rhythm patterns. If you want the beat to be aggressive, it's a faster, hard driving beat. If you want it to be more laid back, it's more slow and melodic. So it puts you already in the mind state to accept whatever the message is that's coming through the headphones, across your tab, whatever it is. So what's happening is you're plugged in 24 hours a day. You got programs like World Star. You got all this other crazy crap you see on these videos of little babies doing the twerk and half naked with the Pampers on and everybody around them clapping. You know, just madness.
Madness.
So now imagine if all you're feeding that side of your brain, the emotional side, is all of these crazy messages. Now imagine in your head, like somebody just fast forwarding a roll of film of a movie just through your brain, and you trying to snatch little pieces and digest it. That's what's happening today because you're being bombarded with all these crazy images.
Exactly.
Your brain doesn't know what to snatch and hold on to. This is why everybody got ADT all of a sudden. Because now it puts your brain in the mode to where I can't focus on one thing at a time because I'm constantly being bombarded with all these images. And the music is taking me from here to there, here to there. You're going crazy.
Right.
So this is why today with the young folks, you see a lot of that aggressive. The music is dark today. It's evil. It's not like, years ago, we had Public Enemies. We had the KRS-Ones. We had, the Tribe Called Quest, that whole native tongue movement. Today you got dudes named Slim Thug. How you slim in a thug? We used to call you Slim Body Punching Bag.
Right. Slim Goody.
And it's not to take away from anybody, you get in where you fit in. But, the music changed. We went from consciousness,
Yes.
drug dealers,
Yes.
pimps,
To killers.
hoes, killers. Even in the music today, like, slow jams for me is like the OJs, Cry Together. That's a slow jam
That's a
to
slow
me.
jam, right?
That's it.
Now I'm listening to the slow jam. R. Kelly got some joint I'll call I didn't want to say the title.
I like R. Kelly.
I like R. Kelly to an extent.
Right. Okay.
I haven't heard the new one. I haven't heard the new
Oh,
one.
it's called Black Satin, some crazy mess.
All right, you really want to talk about a song. Let's talk about Anaconda. Nicki Minaj.
Oh, well, Nicki, it's strange. Nicki's from my side of town. She's from South Side, Queens. And
Hip hop.
believe it or not,
Don't stop.
I would say this about a lot of artists that I personally know. A lot of them are very conscious, but that's not what's allowed in the industry. If you want to make money,
Right.
you have to do what the industry calls for.
Really?
Yes. So you go in the office and you got these great ideas. You're very talented. And say Rick Ross is the hottest thing out now. Rick Ross got a song called Beat Your Baby Mama. All right? We're just going to say this because this is where I'm going with it. You might go in there and say, I got a song called I Love My Mama. They say, no, you beat your baby mama. That don't love your mama don't sell.
Don't sell.
You better beat your baby mama. You want this money. And you go, well, got to pay these bills.
Better beat my baby mama.
I got to beat my baby mama.
That's true. That is
That's amazing.
It is.
You know, so
amazing.
these are the things that
But
we don't
sad.
see.
It's sad. You're right.
You know, these are the things we don't see. And then we ridicule a lot of these young folks, not understanding, you know.
What's behind them?
Like
Why?
I know women that say they'll fight a man. You don't call me no B.
Yeah.
Then you see me in the club. Drop that booty B. Slap that booty H. And they like this. Yeah, that's my jam. How you, what's
wait a
that
minute.
all about?
I'm sorry. I gotta say something before we end, because I just saw a new challenge. The new challenge is put on the bulletproof vest, and homeboy shoots you with the bulletproof vest on. Have y'all seen the new challenge?
Those are
I'm sorry. I just had to take it to another level.
Well,
From a whole nother.
now
right.
here's the thing, right?
I'm glad I haven't seen it.
Here's the thing for me.
I had to take it to another level.
need
I'm
to see
sorry.
Here's the thing for me. The heck with the challenge. That's stupid. Period. Bottom line. Listen,
Stupid, right.
this one right here, if you do that challenge, you're an idiot.
I know.
Okay. But here's the thing. In a time where you're crying out against police brutality, when you're crying out against all these injustices that are being done, not only in this country, but all over the world,
All over the world.
you would be a fool to get on whatever, put on a bulletproof vest,
Right.
and have somebody shoot you, and then turn around the next day and be in a march talk about hands up.
I
Right.
know. Right.
And you know what? You mentioned in the beginning genocide. And there's something called menticide. And when it's been dropped into the brain, and that's the thinking and the pattern, and it grows itself, we don't even have to feed it anymore.
More.
Just growing itself and growing itself. What does putting on a bulletproof vest and having someone shoot you, what does that prove?
I just
That-
saw it.
Hold up. Look over there.
Look up. If
You're
you
an
do
idiot.
That, right, if you do that, you're an idiot, right. That's amazing. Can we do shout outs like, you know?
Oh, by all means, go ahead because we're gonna be
I really
running
don't have
up.
anyone to shout out.
Your wife.
Wife, my wife
Your
is my wife.
beautiful
She's here with me.
He just got married to a
just got
wonderful,
married.
beautiful woman who is behind him, and we want to say
Wife.
hi, Miss Dunham.
My Tracy.
We love you, Miss Tracy Dunham. We thank you for behind every good man is a beautiful woman. So, and I know Mr. Portwine. Hi, Mrs. Portwine. I don't know.
Yeah, Tootsie Roll, mama.
Oh,
Hey, what's up, baby? I finally made it on TV, not in handcuffs.
with all the shout outs. Mr. Herman, give them the information for the building
For
bricks.
Building Bricks, just go online, www.beautifulmenandwomen.com. Everything is plural. Beautiful is plural. Men is plural. And is plural. Is and plural? And's plural. And then,
We went to the same high
Women.
school, brother. How would I know?
I know, right? It's crazy. Beautiful Men and Women spelled all the way out.com. The Building Bricks Men's Leadership Conference. It's that is the title, but it's really geared and designed for young men to be able to increase their character. It's character development, personal development, all through leadership. Deals with the emotions, deals with racism, deals with propaganda, refining the hip hop culture. It's actually a 2.5-day conference, and we broke it down for this first one for 4 hours, just so we could basically kind of get it going, get it out, and let it explode. So please, by all means, any means necessary.
Any means necessary. Yeah. We want to thank you for joining All About Us Teen Talk TV.
Yes, we do.
Mr. Portwine and Mr. Dunham will be part of the AAU team. You will see them in coming shows. So I want you to welcome them. And we want to thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to order your book, the book of the month, Something to Make a Bird Sing. Also, Mr. Portwine has a couple, what's your new book?
New book is called The Grandmasters.
The Grandmasters. I will get that copy and present it to you in the upcoming weeks. We'll see you next Thursday. Again, have a blessed night and have a good evening.